So here's how to use a spin bike and some weights to establish energetic continuity. I don't know what you call it. So you're not doing this because it's like hard or difficult or whatever. You're using the resistance and the momentum and the inertia to notice certain things that you're not noticing, and then act from those areas, or act from that truth, or move from that truth that you're noticing because of the bike or because of the weights. Right? So this isn't like a, oh, let's get fit, even though like you'll get fit, you know? So your legs are kind of like rotating on top of this center of mass, this wheel. So feel this wheel that you're making with your legs. Normally this type of behavior would cause you to go really fast, so the spin bike is removing that. Like if you've made this wheel while you were running or on a bike, if you make this type of contact with the ground, you start going. Right, so this is, the bike is letting you go into flow state because you're flowing. You're kind of riding that inertia. So then you feel that flow state. If you do it for long enough, you'll start to feel your heart connect to it, which is that basic feeling of like effort, fatigue, right? Once you get the heart rate to go up, you've connected your activity to your heart. And so as you increase your heart rate, your exertion is going to go up. And as you decrease your heart rate, your exertion will go down. And so that's interval training, is bringing the heart rate up and bringing the heart rate down. And that's your range of exertion, as it were. These, you can find that flow state, both the one you're kind of stand on it, press your heart into it, and then also make sure the weights are connected into it, like the weights are pressing down on the pedal. You want to make sure that this weight is finding its way into the downward stroke of the pedal. And again, you'll feel that connecting to your heart's exertion, because your heart's exertion is contracting, holding the weight up. The blood pressure will spike as you grab the system with your heart. So heart exertion, and if you do that over and over, you'll get a blood pressure spike. and a pump. That's from reaching into the area from the heart. That's what drives the nutrients and the blood flow into the tissue, which causes the hypertrophy and other benefits people get from exercise. And so ultimately I want all of my body weight to constantly be falling into that wheel motion. So I'm kind of falling and then swimming off of each pedal stroke, or even the entire circle. Since I have clips on, I can pedal up and around. So I have this entire rotational event that is opening the door to the flow state. So I press my heart into that, my effort. And then that just creates a field. Where can I swim in it? And so really, like, what the exercise bike should be thought of is it's letting you do an extremely powerful, extremely energetic movement pattern. The wheel, the circular movement pattern. Like a true circular movement pattern that your center of gravity is resting on is the basis of almost all high-level technique in running. Force generation is like a true even circular rotation of your center of gravity, and you resting on top of that or balancing on top of it. And so when you're on the wheel or the pedal, especially with the seat, it lets you like find that point. Like the point at which a wheel is rolling is the point that I'm talking about. So it lets you find that point without any of the normal consequences of that, which is usually like flying down the road at 20 miles an hour. Like in a full sprint or insane cartwheels or like, you know, biking very fast. So it removes that whole contingency, and then you're just on the bike, you're on the wheel going nowhere. And so you don't have to worry about like running into anything or navigating that field. And then you can stack your weight on top of it, and it's, you know, it's very much like a Pilates reformer in that sense, right? With because re-accessing that is both kind of technique, and it takes some effort to push the blood there. So the bike lets you generate that effort required to, potentially examine some aspects of your movement pattern. Like, is my back involved? What's the connection between my weight shift and my legs? You can kind of study all these different things as they connect to that center of gravity when it's like moving real fast. Like the rotating wheel lets you store a lot of inertia and a lot of momentum, and so that you can see the flywheel. The flywheel is absorbing all of the inertia and all the momentum that you would normally have. It's really similar to how, like, if you wanted to do pull-ups and stuff and you put a stretch band on, the stretch band would absorb most of your gravity. The flywheel stores most of your inertia, so it takes the inertial stress off of you, and then lets you study the technique of just the whatever range of motion you're working on, whatever you're working on at a lower intensity. Just like you could study a pull-up at 30% body weight because of your stretch bands. And then, there's certain value in upping the intensity, right? Because the more you up the intensity, obviously you're getting a larger range of motion with your heart. But ultimately, even then, I think in that cardio training, like, it's really good to just be able to go up to 200 back down, and to have your heart rate intensity sort of separated from effort. And so it's just kind of like a casual range of motion of intensity that you have, which starts to look like, looking from your heart is living from that place when you're doing interval training, and taking your heart rate from like 100 to 200 and then back down, like really controlling your heart rate for the duration of a workout. The vantage point, the place that you're controlling that from, like, the heart's going up, the heart's going down, that's your true locus of attention. And so you only need to do cardio training and stuff like that to the degree that you are separate from that locus of attention. And so if you're in pretty good shape, like, you move from there. And so your heart rate or your interest or your intensity will go up and down depending on if you're like seeing a sunset versus seeing something. Like, there'll be variability. So a lot of the deadness or the dullness in life is from, fundamentally, you could see it as a deconditioning problem. But ultimately, people are using conditioning as a means to this. And so, it's so rainy.